Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday, fun day. Hope you're all having a good day. Welcome to Talking Stock, where we talk the good talk. This will be my second episode of Talking Stock. Those who saw my first episode seem to be impressed, which is only a good sign because it comes to show that we're moving along pretty smoothly, especially for a podcast that I just started. I mean, even just looking to see the amount of views that I have, that even just having like the slightest bit of views is definitely a plus for sure. I mean, because yeah, even if you only got like 300 something views, I mean, that's pretty impressive for given the fact that it's someone who is new, someone who like not everybody knows who I am except for, people who are like, know me in real life or have some sort of affiliation with me or know me by they know the name Ryan Kalata, but they may not know me personally. But other than that, it's just I think that that's pretty good, and I'm looking forward to doing many more live sessions going forward in the future. And it's and for those who are listening on platforms that support live chat, feel free to start typing away. Any questions you wanna share, type it on in, and I'll respond in real time if I can. If I can't respond, I can't respond. But if I can respond, then I will respond in real time, and you'll get to see a response from me. Well, first, let me just check to see, like, if my Facebook live feed is public or not, because I know last time what happened was is that it ended up being it ended up because there's something that that some countries blocked Meta from being able to use any kind of music. So that's probably why the last time around I wasn't getting any live views. At first I thought it could have just been coincidental that nobody tuned in because everyone was either working, running errands, doing other stuff, but when I saw the fact that it was only recording me and only me, I started to see as to why it probably wasn't getting any views. But let me just check right now. I'm gonna go on my app and check and see. All right, go to my profile. All right, so it's saying that I'm live. Ryan Kalata's live now. Edit privacy. Pub. All right, so select your audience: public, anyone on or off Facebook. This lets anyone create reels with your original audio. Don't really care about that. Done. At least it's good that shows that. Okay, so everything should be good from here. And let me check on my Instagram feed because see certain platforms like Instagram and stuff like that that aren't immediately compatible with the software that I use. I have to manually enter the link and the stream key every time I want to go online. So it's going to be a little bit of a hassle when you use platforms that aren't necessarily immediately compatible. I mean, it's not the end of the world. These aren't my main platforms that I want to use, but it's multitasking isn't always the easiest thing when you're filming this, especially when you're filming on a live, especially when you're filming on, especially when you're filming and you're doing the host. So it's like you have multiple duties at once. You're the host, you're the producer, you pretty much you do everything related to it. But again, it's also because it's fairly new. So let me just check and see on the other feeds. Well, my Instagram feed is for like the account that I set up, and it doesn't have a lot of followers yet because I just created it. And another issue I had the other day too is some of these platforms. What they do is they make you wait a little bit until you create it. Like in terms of my Facebook page, like my personal Facebook right now my personal Facebook is being used to stream this program live, but in the near future it's going to be going to the page that I created. And the reason why, like, see, the Facebook page that I created for this podcast can't necessarily I can't necessarily have used that live just yet, only because of the reason that it's still too new. Like they have this thing where the page has to be like 60 days old in order to be able to use it. Oh, I just realized my door's open. Let me close it. Not that it's that big of a deal, but I like it better with the door closed. And hold on, I gotta chat. Studio chat. Hold on. Let's go. Oh, and never mind any background noises. I hear it all the time. See, I live like right over by like a train station, and this microphone on this computer is pretty good at picking up on live noises. It picks up on just about everything. I mean, it can hear me typing the keys and the keyboard if I'm like looking something up. Like when I was testing it out and I was browsing the web on another site or pulling something up on YouTube, it heard it type. And when I heard that this microphone can pick up things like simple small noises like keyboard tapping, then I know that this microphone works very well, I would say. And yeah, and so I checked in, looks like my Facebook feed's working. I mean, I might have to do it every time where, like every time I go live, I might have to just toggle with the settings. It's sort of tedious, sort of annoying, but not the worst thing in the world. And yeah, and oh, one thing I want to touch upon is the session that I had planned to be filmed tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time will be canceled. But the shows that I'm planning on filming on Friday, December 27th, Sunday, December 29th, Wednesday, January 1st, and Saturday, January 5th will still be on as scheduled, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And now, as far as the session on Monday, December 30th at 8 p.m., the New Year's Eve special, I'm not quite certain about. I mean, if that one has to be canceled, I'll cancel it. But if it doesn't have to be canceled, then it will be on. I just don't know what's going on just yet. It's just, it's sometimes when I want to film during evening hours, things are different. I mean, on a time like 11 a.m. on a weekday that I have off is a perfect time for me to film because it gives me something to do. And if I don't have anything going on, and anything that I could have going on, like doctor's appointments or anything errands I gotta run, those could always be done at a different time. Those could always be done at any time of the day. And even filming on a Sunday is perfect too, because I mean, I think that like if once this thing takes off and I'm able to make somewhat of a decent living off of it, I think what's eventually going to end up happening is I'm gonna like once this thing takes off. I mean, if it takes off to the point that I can just have this be like an everyday show, I'm either thinking of the 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. time I'm keeping as is, but I'm thinking it would either be Monday through Friday or it would be like a weekend day, like probably a Sunday and 4 days during the week, and then I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. I mean, again, it's just as of right now, it's a side project. It's something I enjoy doing. It's something that, well, I feel like I'm having a lot of fun with so far. I mean, second show and everything, and I'm still learning how to play. But I just learned a lot today too. I even learned from the last time how it didn't even record on Instagram. Because what happens is that with the with the with the social media platforms that aren't immediately supported by the program, I actually have to enter it manually every single time I use it. Like on my web browser, I'm gonna have to look at like anyone who comments on Instagram, it won't appear on the chat feed. See, the chat feed that this program uses is a program called OmniChat, and it's compatible with just about any like software, any like program that this thing is compatible with. Like Facebook's one of them, Twitch is one of them. I mean, I'm not a big gamer, but I just put myself on Twitch because I figure the more platforms we're on, the more we can reach people, the better it is. I mean, and even better that when you have a certain number of live people tuning in, like if I end up having like 30 people tuning in, that means that there's only going to be even more watching it. I mean, the amount of views I'm getting so far, and I even got like a comment somewhere from somebody saying that I wish there was like more shows like yours and someone that was like willing to work with me. I mean, he's on my laundry list in terms of people to get back to, but again, I just started this whole thing, and yeah, I just started this whole entire thing, and you know me still being new to it. And speaking of the devil, let me just check on Instagram. Looks like looks like not a lot, like, but again, for an Instagram profile that has 8 followers, I can't necessarily like expect that it's gonna immediately be available, because I found out that with Instagram, what I actually have to even do is I have to film a live feed. Well, I have to like what I have to do is I have to customly enter the URL and the stream key every time I do it. Like every single time I want to film on, and I know you listening, you probably think, oh, it's got to be pretty fucking annoying, but it's at least if I'm able to reach people, it's better. Like that's what I learned from the first time, like why I didn't reach anybody. It's like I'm thinking to myself, why is nobody tuning in live to my Facebook? I mean, it can't be nobody, can it? But it turned out to be because of the settings. But you know what? It's fixed, so it's everything's all good from here. Let's go. Awesome. I love that type of comment. That's, awesome enthusiasm. Let's go. Like in terms of like, like let's get this on the roll. Like let's fucking go. LFG. But except the only difference is no F bomb was dropped in the mix, but it's all good. Let me just check on another thing. I mean, I know this podcast uploads to YouTube, but I'm just checking on my phone really fast to see if I'm live on YouTube at the moment. Am I? No way of really telling, but it's at least I know one thing about YouTube is that after the episode's done, I do know that it at least publishes it as a live podcast, which I think is awesome. See, on Twitch. What it is, I mean, like as I said before, I don't use Twitch much, but every single time I'm on here, there's always one person watching. But I honestly think that that's a good thing in my books, because at least at least if at least if there's one person watching on Twitch, that comes to show one person discovered my show. Although I think I hope it's not the same person from last time that was recommending this site where, and I did a little research on it, and it's basically a site where you get more views by inviting bots to come on. And let me just tell you this, I don't want any fucking bots watching my program at all. No bots. That's no. End of this. End of discussion. Well, I'm just saying that that's like how things are. I mean, I know it's a little darker here, but I can't. I just see if I turn that regular light on, or actually that really doesn't do much because that's the other part of the bedroom. You see, what I did is where I'm filming right now is that like this is gonna be like the room where I'm gonna be filming my podcast. Where the first part of the room is gonna like where I'm at right now is gonna be the podcast part, and what you see right here, that's my dresser. So I got like this room barrier divider thing that I just have to put together and buy curtains for, and once that's done with, it'll be separated. And I want to decorate this room too. You see, because this podcast is known as Talking Stock, the room that this place is going to be filmed in is known as the stock room. I call it that because talking stock room, just little name to come up with that I think is creative, and I just think that yeah, I mean, got to come up with a pretty cool name, and I want to decorate it with some pretty cool stuff. I was thinking of getting like fake fish tanks as one, as one of them. That's one thing I want to put in here. Maybe lava lamps, get some posters in here. What I'll do is once it's decorated, I'll film a video live and then I'll roll it onto here because if I'm sitting in front of the screen, this camera cannot pan the entire room. I mean, if this podcast ever gets to the point where I decide that I do want to have live guests come in and be on the show, we're going to need a camera that's going to film it right here. And one of my couches I want to put in here too, like one of my living room couches. Like, well, you see, there's the main couch, there's the rocking chair, and then there's like this other couch that used to be in my bedroom, which was actually at my uncle's house. It was a couch that was in the basement of my uncle's house that my cousins used to like sit on. I think it was like their video gaming couch or something. I don't know, but all I know is that like I wanted a new couch for my bedroom back when I still lived in the house I grew up in my whole entire life. Back around maybe 2010ish, we had a couch that needed to be replaced. We put it by the curb and we went over there. My dad and I, we went over my uncle's house. My uncle's, in this case, is my father's brother. We took the couch and put it into. Well, I don't remember how we got it there. I don't remember if he had to like use it up with the if we had to like borrow some kind of pickup. No, I think we got it into the car. I don't really. That's so long ago. I don't really remember exactly when it was going to be. All right, so yesterday, as we know, was December 21st, which is the shortest day of the year. But and I know it still gets dark early, but the one positive from this point on is that with yesterday being the shortest day of the year, that can only mean that from this point going forward, it's only going to get lighter and lighter each day. So, in other words, with each day from now until June 21st, it's going to get lighter and lighter and lighter each day. And yeah, it gets lighter each day. I mean, I'm really hoping that, like, you know, one year, when, one like I'm really hoping they eventually do away with daylight savings time. Like I mean, if you live in Arizona, you already don't celebrate daylight savings time. So if anyone from lives in that area is watching this, you guys are pretty lucky bastards because you never have to change your clocks back. You never have to change your clocks forward. So you guys have it made, I would say. But I'm just saying that, like with us, is that they really need to do away with it, and they've been needed to do away with it for the longest time because, in my opinion, it really doesn't do anything at the end of the day except for like, all right, so you change it back in the fall. So you basically gain an hour, but what it does is that it puts the time, and all of a sudden, like, it's, you have all this daylight in the morning and you have all this darkness in the afternoon. And then you had the spring one, which that one in particular, well, the daylight savings in the fall, the one that we celebrate, was created by Ben Franklin many, many, many years ago. And then I know, like, the one in the spring was created by the farmers because they wanted more daylight to be able to sell their crops. But I'm just saying that, like, it's really, at the end of the day, it's just useless because all it really does is that, like, what's it really doing? But the thing is, if and when we're going to do away with daylight savings time, it's got to be during the spring daylight savings time. Like, it's got to be the one in March. Like, one year in particular. I mean, we got to, like, just do away with it. It's got to be like, either, I'm hoping it's either, I mean, it won't be March 2025 because that would have already had to been passed ahead of time. But maybe if it's 26, 27, 28, 29, I don't care if it takes all the way till 2035, but we got to eventually get rid of it because it's stupid and does absolutely nothing, in my opinion. Oh, another thing too is that, like, aside from it being the shortest, yes, like yesterday was being the shortest day of the year, it was also one of the coldest days of the year either. But I actually think today might be colder because for anyone who lives in the Northeast, you'll probably agree with me that it's pretty fucking brick outside. I don't think anyone who's listening to that it will disagree with what I have to say. I think that everyone who's listening right now is, and who lives on the Northeast could probably only agree with me on that. So let's just see what the temperature is. Go on my phone really fast. Hold on. I don't know if you could see that good enough, but that says that it's 21 degrees, and today's high is only going to be 23 degrees, and the low is going to be 15 degrees. So when I got off of work last night, because I worked, like, late last night, I went on to do Uber and I went to drive people around, and a lot of, like, my passengers were talking about how fucking cold it was because I was picking them up from places, like they were outside, waiting to be picked up air from like areas. I mean, the one area that I was in the most was Port Jeff area, which is like a popping town on a Friday or Saturday night, similar to, like, there's actually quite a few spots in Long Island that have become that way now. You know, of course, there's Patchogue, there's even Bayshore's become that way. Farmingdale's another one of them. There's many more, but I'm just saying the ones that I'm the most familiar with. All this talking's got me a bit thirsty. That's why I had to drink. So, it's gonna happen every once in a while. I mean, I had only just woken up at like 9:30 this morning, so I haven't been awake that long. I just drank my coffee, and I'm getting myself, like, ready to go. It's like, sometimes, if you see me, like, more energetic than one others, the more energetic version of me versus the more sleepy, tired version of me, it's like, if you see if you're ever watching this podcast and you see one episode where I just seem like I'm completely asleep, then all of a sudden you see one where I'm all just fucking jacked and pumped up. You're gonna think that someone was pumping me up with some kind of steroids or some shit, but not necessarily. But that's not necessarily true. I don't do roids, so don't worry about that kind of stuff. Just, like, it's just like, people should not be over worried about stuff too. Like this time, like just like, on my first episode, I mean, I didn't get any pushback from it, but I think as people start to discover my podcast and maybe watch it, some people might give pushback to certain things. I'm not saying it's a lot. I'm just saying that, like, so. But one thing I touched upon in the first episode of my podcast is I had mentioned how, like, people on Long Island, how they don't know how to drive for shit, how they kind of just make up their own rules on the road and don't obey the law. And I say that because just because of some of the shit that you see. And anyone here that's from Long Island would agree. And I had mentioned that, like, in my entire time I've been driving, that I've maybe been in, I don't know, 5 car accidents. But when it comes down to near misses, all right, okay, so you're going to think this number's hyperbole, but trust me, it's not. I've had tens of thousands of near misses in my entire driving life. And I know that number sounds like hyperbole, but it's not. And I'm saying, like, and don't worry, that is nothing to be worried about. I mean, near misses just means that an accident that could have almost happened, but it was prevented by none other than me, Ryan Kalata. Because I mean, near miss, could just means that something that could have almost happened. But again, I don't even know if it's really tens of thousands of times. I mean, those digits I just gave you is numbers, I shouldn't hold you to. So I mean, Christmas came really fast this year. I mean, I cannot believe that it's only 3 days away. I mean, part of the reason why, like, I was even gonna do the Christmas Eve special on Christmas Eve and not Christmas Eve itself, has a lot to do with that. I'm spending time with family on Christmas Eve, and then I was gonna do it last night, but I was gonna do it tomorrow night, but I have stuff going on now too, so it's no big deal. It's just filming at 8 o'clock at night on certain days isn't going to be the easiest thing. I mean, not only is it out of my regular schedule, but it's just that those will be like special edition episodes pretty much. So let me just okay. What you're gonna see is me periodically checking in on certain live feeds just to see, like, if anybody, because I don't always get notifications. I mean, as I was saying before, platforms like Instagram, I have to manually go live with it, so to speak. And and I know it sounds like it's a bit of a pain in the ass, and I'm filming this from a computer, so I have to toggle between the tabs, and I don't know if I go to the other tab how well it records me or not. So I just got to do, like, a quick check, and then I'll just be right back to it. Okay, so I just checked and nothing to see so far, but again, this this podcast is still, like, fairly new, so it's gonna take time to build a bit of an audience. People who already so far, my audience is probably just people who know me or know of me. But I'm talking about as time goes on, as I eventually get discovered by other people. Like I was saying before, someone had reached out to me and had said that that they wanted to work with me and gave me, like, their email and stuff like that. And but I mean, the one thing I also have to be a little mindful of too is hoping that the person's not a fraud. I just that's another thing I got to look out for too. There's a lot that I got to be on the lookout for. But yeah, I mean, I think that when it comes down to a regular filming schedule, if one of them's a weekend day, that would be a perfect time to be able to film because there'll be more people that'll be able to tune into it. I mean, if you run out of shows to binge, there's nothing good to watch on TV. Your plan got canceled, or you never had any plan. Why not tune into this? I mean, I know when it comes to programs like podcasts, most of them watch them after the fact that they've already been filmed. Like most people will just stream it from like YouTube or wherever they get their podcasts from. I mean, even this podcast is available on Spotify, but for the people that would listen to Spotify, Spotify doesn't isn't available in real time. That one I have to once I'm done filming that I have to extract the file and upload it to there. I mean, it might do it automatically now because it has an option to share it to Spotify, but I can't go live with Spotify. But not 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 the end of the world because Spotify wasn't really one of the platforms I was going to really have as my main one too. I mean, when I was talking about wanting to do this podcast, you know, I think it was like people. I had someone say to me like not to use Spotify because they rip people off in terms of artists, but I don't think that person knew too much about like that Spotify is in fact a good destination to be able to upload podcasts to. I mean, as I was saying before, the more places you're on, the better. I mean, but then there's also complications with other platforms too. Like I can't go live on TikTok unless I have 1,000 followers. So now I got to build a base on TikTok, and I don't even have a personal TikTok account. So I created one for this program. And for those of you who have TikToks and would like to follow it, the the TikTok username for it is talking stock, just talking stock, one word, and and other platforms too, like what was I gonna say? I'm sorry, I'm just losing my train of thought here because it's all right. Let me think. Hmm. Oh, and other platforms too. I mean, like ones like like Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. That one, also has like certain regulations you need to meet too. I mean, even like I probably said before, in terms of Facebook, like what I want to do is the Talking Stock Facebook page that I created for it is the one that I want to have this podcast streamed to. The problem is, why can't I do it right now? The page is less than 60 days old. I don't know why they have these type of requirements, but the fact that they do makes me think to myself that it was only smart that what I did is prior to launching this, or prior to, or in some cases prior to even getting the equipment to be able to film this, like because you see, here's the thing: I've been wanting to get into wanting to create content for quite some time now, but then I tried one time filming on a phone, and I realized that you really that I can't like film content on a phone alone, or at least create good quality content can that you can multitask with and do podcasts like this. Like I realize you can't just do it all on just a phone, or else you'd be like constantly multitasking. So so anyway, for those who are new, the way the show's gonna work is, as I said before, 11 a.m. Eastern time, which is different depending on which would mean 10 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Mountain, 8 a.m. Pacific, so on and so forth. I mention that because depending on where you're tuning in from, or and what time zone you're on, will depend on what time you watch. You'll be able to watch this live. So what was I going to say? Shit. I'm sorry, folks. I just it's shit. I mean, oh my god, I'm losing my train of thought here. Oh, now I remember what I was going to talk about. The formation of the podcast. Like it's going to be divided into two sessions. Like I said before, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Session one will be from 11 a.m. to 12:15, and session two will be from 12:45 to 2 o'clock. Now, what I mean by the two sessions is it doesn't mean that one part of the show is going to necessarily be different from another. It's just that the sessions are separated by a lunch break that lasts around a half an hour. Now, what's going to happen during that lunch break? I'm going to have music playing so you guys can listen to music while I'm out of the studio. And want to do that so I can make it, more of like that type of a concept of a variety show. I'll have various segments. I'll have videos to show. I might play videos and then like pause it, give my input, play it again. Well, I'm not probably gonna do it. I am gonna do it. It's just it's what I realize is that when it comes to putting stuff like this together is when I have the ideas in my head, I gotta jot them down because if I don't, then I lose my train of thought because I'm in the middle of something else. So the minute I think of something, just write it down somewhere. I don't care where it is. I don't care if it's a piece of paper. I don't care if it's my phone. Just jot it down so you have the information and you can see it. Okay, sorry about that. I was just checking on some of my other various feeds that aren't necessarily connected to this just to see if anybody. I mean, I with sources like Facebook or YouTube or Twitch that are connected to the software program, I'll see it pop up on the screen if somebody puts in a chat. But if it comes down to the ones that are not necessarily connected, I have to, or maybe I'll be able to do it on my phone. So this way, like, I can, manage the two. Like, the ones that aren't live, put on my, I'll just monitor with my phone, and the ones that are live, I'll just check, I'll just check it to see, like, if, well, I mean, they're all live. I mean, I'm just saying the ones that pop up on my screen, and the ones that aren't necessarily immediately compatible, where you need like a stream key in order to be able to have them on here because they're not like necessarily connected. I mean, I'm surprised that of all of them, Instagram's not one of them. I mean, yeah, I know it's owned by Facebook, but still, it's a popular platform. I think they should all be, but again, I don't make the rules, so yeah. So with Christmas coming in the next couple of days, I'm looking forward to it, despite the fact that I haven't really had time to get into the Christmas spirit this year. And the reason is that I've just been so busy with so many things between working and doing gigs and wanting to have fun outside of work and stuff like that. All gets in the way of wanting to of of basically my schedule. Like it gets in in the way of me being able to enjoy the holidays the way I want to. I mean, yeah, of course, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, Christmas Eve, I'm going to my parents' house. I'm probably going to stay over there and then wake up Christmas morning. The reason for that is, so that this way I could just get my gifts then and there and don't have to drive back all the way back and all the way there. Because to drive there and back wouldn't make any sense. It only makes sense if I drive there Christmas Eve night, spend time, with them, eat dinner, drive back, and then stay overnight, sleep there, open whatever gifts they give me in the morning. I'll give them their gifts that morning too, and then we'll head out to we usually go to my aunt's house, and believe we're doing the same this year. But it's like I haven't even had time this year to even ask as to like what was going on. Well, actually, I asked pretty early because I just needed to know. But again, I there was a time where I wasn't even thinking too much about Thanksgiving or Christmas because I just had like so much going on, but then there's so much that I want to do. It's like I'm working on so many different things at once. I want to start a new life. Well, I don't want to start a new life, but I want to like I want to do other have other projects with my life. I want to explore new opportunities. It's like when you want to do like 15 or so, well, probably not 15. That again, that number, as opposed to the tens of thousands of near misses, that 15 number I just gave you is probably more likely is probably more of the hyperbolic number that I'm giving you. But again, these digits that I'm giving you in general, or probably any time in general, are more or less just predictions, more or less just the approximations and numbers that you shouldn't hold me to. Like it's just like it's like when I give numbers like it's just saying like I mean yeah, I mean, did I really ever have tens of thousands of near misses? I don't know if it was that much, but it's just I don't know, just every once in a while I just I need to find stuff to like crack myself up. I mean, one thing I want to do a lot of this winter that I got around to once last winter is go ice skating. Like ice skating on a pond. Like, for those who live on Long Island, like from most of them are familiar with Port Jeff around like Christmas season. They have a ice skating rink that you can go on to, and I got around to going there once last winter time, but I only went to it once. But I kind of want to go to it more often this year because I just want to like be able to, ice skating is one of the things I like to do. It's like, I always complain. I always say like, that I hate the winter more than anything else, but you almost like when it comes down to winter, you just gotta find like, the fun stuff to do. You gotta find what's fun in it. I mean, of course, aside from you know, you know, Christmas time and stuff like that. Yeah, so let me just. Sorry, but sorry, just my mouth gets really dry all the time, so it's like I always have to have water to drink. And when I go on like the half-hour break in a little bit, I'll probably come back with another water bottle because it's just I don't know, for whatever reason, like even if I'm not doing anything like physical, my mouth just gets really dry. And I don't know if it's because I do a lot of like physical labor. I don't know if it's because talking. I don't know what it is, but it's just I get a very dry mouth. Or I know another thing it is too. It's what I use. Like you brushing brushing your teeth. That's like that dries your mouth. Mouthwash that dries your mouth out. Some of the foods that you eat dries it out. Even like beverages, like it's like having I drink a lot of like soda and stuff like that. That's not a good thirst quencher. So for stuff like that, it's just I don't know. I mean, one thing I'm definitely looking forward to is when I get around to decorating this place. Once I get a little bit more money, and I'm thinking, once my rent's paid for the month of January on January 1st, I'll see how much money I have, and I'll go out and buy a bunch of cool stuff. I mean, thinking of getting like having like all the cool stuff, so you have stuff in the background. So I mean, when you're filming something live like this, it's not the biggest deal that you don't have anything in the background because you see me most of the time anyway. But I know what draws people into a lot of podcasts is when they see something cool in the background, like they see a poster of something, or they see something in the background, or like whatever. Like in my case, I mentioned like fake fish tanks. That would only make things look cool to people. People will see that in the background. They'll be like, oh crap, he's really got a cool background. I really like this, but it's just again, it's just I'm early on in this, so it's just I'm even still brainstorming ideas myself. But and and for those who saw my post about like on Facebook saying how like the hardest part of anything is getting started, that is in fact actually true because it usually takes time to be able to get like original ideas out there. I mean, at least the good thing is when you go live is people can always like tune in live. People can always watch it live afterwards, and it's just it's. But I do know one thing for sure is like if you ask yourself like why do they put a fence around a cemetery? People are dying to get in. I figured I'd crack a little joke here because I want to throw some jokes in because I just feel like it's another thing I need to do is I need to like write down more ideas that I want to talk about so that I know what to actually like talk about because I'm in front of a live screen here and it's yeah I'm live here so it's yeah so it's like if I would have written more stuff down I would like know more of what to like what to talk about on here but it's just that it's not the easiest. Well, now I know what I need to do ahead of time is put stuff together ahead of time too. But once the show grows, it'll be even easier because I'll be able to have like live guests come on, live chat and stuff like that, and I'm looking forward to that. And that's part of why I wanted to get into doing the whole podcast thing. I'm also going to want to create content and I mean, another thing that got in the way of all that content creating stuff that I wanted to do a while back, aside from me seeing that, that what I want to do, I can't just do it all on the phone, is I just had like, there was a time where I was getting like very burnt out with work. I mean, it's not so much the case anymore, but that's more so the case of around this time of year last year. Like I was just getting, very burnt out with work to the point that I didn't want to do anything like outside of work. And I just, was very like, burnt out all the time. I mean, I've gotten better for sure, but it's just, yeah. Yeah, so. Trying to think of something. I'm just trying to think of if there's what I want to do right now is trying to think of is there some kind of funny video that I want to play? Is there some kind of do I want to go on break right now? Do I? I'm sorry, folks, but it's just I mean, I feel like I wish I could have woken up a little earlier today. I would have had more time to kind of like prepare this whole thing out. And it's there's a difference between like when you read from a script versus when you're doing it off the head. And I'm realizing that doing things off the head isn't all that easy, which is why I think I'm trying to think of what to talk about right here because so. And like I said, but and as I was saying before, with the whole entire times of like the whole like 11 a.m. to like 12:15 and then 12:45 to 2 o'clock. Those are all just there will be times that I will might go on break prior to 12:15 and that I might wrap up before 2 o'clock. I mean, today's probably going to be one of those days, but I mean, it all depends on the circumstance. I mean, if I have a guest or a set of guests during the first session of the show, and then I have another guest or set of guests on the second session of the show. Chances are that it'll probably will go the full 3 hours that episode because we will go like mean in other words that depending on what we're talking about and who I have on and whatnot, it'll all depend on like who's there from 11 a.m. to we probably will be going the entire time in cases like that, but and sometimes I don't even know as to how well my Instagram is actually filming well live. I mean, I don't. I mean, if I'm able to to film to have like the Instagram feed part like run from like my phone or something like that. I mean, I still have to figure all this shit out. It's just it's funny how when you're so new to this, it's just you're still figuring so much stuff out, and that I'll probably get the hang of it probably by like hopefully by like the fifth episode I'll fully get the hang of it. I mean, I got the hang of it more now than I did on the first ones. I figured out what I got to do with it. It's just it's funny how much trial and error it actually is because when you test stuff out on your own, when you don't have any social media platforms hooked up, that's one thing. But when you have them hooked up, that's a whole nother thing too. Because once you're live, and it's just I'm just trying to brainstorm as to what I wanna what I wanna do. Hmm. I think I'll go on my half-hour break now, just because I figured like it would just. I think it'll just be better off if I go now. I mean, I know it's not 12:15, but I mean, as I said before, those are just times that I want to do it at, but every episode might vary, and I think that it's just better off doing that. I mean, and another thing too is that when it comes down to filming like these live shows, is that unless my plan gets canceled by something where I won't be able to film it, I will be filming it live. So like that even means that if I had a show scheduled from like 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. As long as I don't have any live guests coming in, which probably isn't going to be the case at least for a while, I'll still film even if I'm feeling under the weather. Only because it's just I want to make this like an everyday kind of show, so to speak. All right, so I think I'm gonna go on break now, and while I'm gone, I'll have some music for you guys to listen to, and I'll be back soon.
while now. You got me feeling like a child now. 'Cause every time I see your bubbly face, I get the tingles in a silly place. It starts in my toes and I crinkle my nose. Wherever it goes, I always know that you make me smile. Please stay for a while now. Just take your time wherever you go. The rain is falling on my window pane, but we are hiding in a safer place. Undercover, staying dry and warm. You give me feelings that I adore. Starting my toes, make me crinkle my nose. Wherever it goes, I always know that you make me smile. Please stay for a while now. Just take your time wherever you go. But what am I gonna say when you make me feel this way? I just it starts in my toes, makes me crinkle my nose. Wherever it goes, I always know that you make me smile. Please stay for a while now. Just take your time wherever you go. I've been asleep for a while now. You tuck me in just like a child now. 'Cause every time you hold me in your arms, I'm comfortable enough to feel your warmth. It starts in my soul and I lose all control. When you kiss my nose, the feeling shows. 'Cause you make me smile, baby. Just take your time now, holding me tight. Wherever, wherever, wherever you go. Wherever, wherever, wherever you go. I'm standing on the bridge, I'm waiting in the dark. I thought that you'd be here by now. There's nothing but the rain, no footsteps on the ground. I'm listening but there's no sound. Isn't anyone trying to find me? I want somebody come take me home. It's that damn cold night. I'm trying to figure out this life. I want you to take me by the hand, take me somewhere new. I don't know who you are, but I
Okay, I'm back, everyone. Had a nice, refreshing break. Not sure how many people tuned in during the time I was gone, but I had some music playing. Which speaking of which, I should check my Facebook settings again. To see if the live didn't change my settings because of the fact that oh, it's still public, so it's still filming, it live, which is good because I was just worried that maybe if music playing in the background that it would probably interfere with, the whole privacy settings because it did that the whole entire last time. And I don't know, and another good thing on a positive note is that while I was gone, it seemed like it recorded the entire time because the entire playlist that I put together for the time I was gone, it played the whole thing. See, in the first episode I filmed, what ended up happening was this: is that I put together a playlist during the middle of like the second song or so. It like lagged, and I caught on with it, so I went back in here when I'm on break. Break means I'm supposed to be out of the studio altogether and just have music playing for like while I'm gone. But what ended up happening was is that it ended up what ended up happening was is that after like excuse me, the second song, it just stopped playing altogether. So I went back in there and I had to fix it. It was just one of those many trial and errors that I had to do. And in terms of like the first one, I'm glad I caught on with it, and I'm glad it didn't happen the second time around. So now I'm pretty, and I don't know as to why it lagged the first time. So for those who watched the first episode and probably noticed that, I don't know as to why it did that. I think it might have had something to do with that. See, what it is that like it's the YouTube Music app, which on my smart TV I don't have a. I mean, there's a YouTube and a YouTube TV app on for my smart TV, but there's not one for YouTube Music. So I'm thinking that what probably happened was is that like if I swiped it off my phone, I thought that maybe excuse me again. If I had I ate something for lunch, so it's but I'm just saying that like in regards to why it happened like the first time is that I think that me swiping out and exiting the app probably wasn't the smartest thing to do. But again, it was also that I didn't realize because I thought that once you like live cast it on your TV, it was there live, and it didn't matter if you exited out of the app or not. But turned out to be that that's not that wasn't true, and because I think me swiping it out of the app is what, or there was something else that went wrong. I really don't know, but it went smooth this time. That's all that matters. So yeah, I mean like so all that really matters is that the other people reacted. 5 reactions, 1 comment. I'm just checking in on something, which is always good. I mentioned before that I wanted to go like ice skating this time of year, like before the winter ends, and another thing I haven't done in a while that I've wanted to do, like more that I've wanted to do for a while is go roller skating, and roller skating's a lot of fun. I can't remember the last time I went roller skating, but I just know that like in terms of like roller skating is that there's a lot of positivity to it. Not only is it good physical activity, not only is it fun, but it also keeps kids off of drugs too, believe it or not. I mean, I know you probably listen to this and think that this is fucking ridiculous, or it's probably a bunch of fucking batshittery nonsense that you're reading into, and that you're reading into misinformation, disinformation, malinformation, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But apparently, like roller skating gets people off of gets people away from drugs, or it puts into little kids' mindsets that if we go roller skating today, we go to college tomorrow. And it actually gets gang members off the streets as well, as filmed in, that there was this, commercial that was filmed for this roller skating place in somewhere in like I think it was Reno, Nevada, and it was this commercial where that was filmed that showed all this. And I'm actually about to play it right now because I figured, like as I was saying before, running out of ideas to talk about. It's going forward. I mean, I have to start writing stuff down so I stop losing my train of thought because people probably listening be like, "What the fuck?" I mean, the people who know me know who I am, but I'm just saying that, like, I mean, everyone, probably listening to the first few episodes is people that I know me, but I'm just saying as time goes on and this becomes bigger and people start to, watch episodes, it's just I don't want to like get the wrong impression, but let me just go pull it up and my slow as shit. I'm just pulling up this YouTube and hold on, I'm just playing around with some. Trying to get this onto a full screen and hold up, come on. I'm just fixing something up right now. We just figure this out how to get this to play and hold on. So I've never played a live video on through like through YouTube form on my screen, so bear with me for 1 second. Hold on. I think I know what I gotta do.
Hey kid, would you like some drugs?
Out my van. I got some candy.
Hey, kid, want to join our gang and spray paint under a bridge?
No, no, bug off, man. I'm going roller skating. because we're roller skating today. We will go to college tomorrow. Prison is full of people that has never roller skated.
I'm Brad Armstrong, owner of Roller Kingdom in Reno, Nevada. Keeping your kids off the streets since 1999.
I say no to drugs. I say no to gangs.
I say no to unplanned pregnancy.
Say no to meth. I say no to reefer. I say yes to roller skating.
Man, this roller kingdom is really putting us out of business.
You said it, man. This deal sucks.
But you know what? Maybe we should give up this life of crime and start roller skating.
See, I absolutely hate when it does that. It's like such lagging, and I don't understand why it's like that. I mean, when I was testing things out, I saw that it played content from YouTube and other sites just fine, but it seemed like. And of course, it decides to work when I. Of course, it decides to work when after like I try playing it and it lags, and then all of a sudden it repeats, and all of a sudden now it's playing, and it's like it's I start hearing it playing, and I was like it's let's try it again. Let's just see if it you know, hopefully it loads. But you see, that's one of the problems too. Also with these live broadcasts is, anything's bound to happen. Always technical difficulties, always lagging. There was times where I was like testing it out, and all of a sudden, like I was like lagging in and out, and I don't know what it was. I mean, I don't think it has anything to do with my Wi-Fi. My Wi-Fi is fine. I mean, if it was anything to do with my Wi-Fi, I don't think it would be able to even record this because just about everything operates off of Wi-Fi nowadays. I don't have a wired internet connection here, and I think most people get their form of internet from Wi-Fi. So let me try the video out one more time. I mean, I know you guys probably caught snippets of it, but it was just lagging like a motherfucker, and it was just, I'm not happy about it. So I'm gonna go mute my, and I forgot to like mute myself too in the background. But all right, let me just hold on. It should work better this time around. So let me just. Well, maybe when you see that it's not all the way Like if you look at that bar, I don't know if that means how queued up it is or any of that stuff. And I mean, it's not too often that I've shared something live on my podcast because it's only the second episode, and it's just it's just one of those things where the funniest thing is you test things out, and all of a sudden like you just as much as you test things out, you still find out through trial and error what works and what doesn't work, and as time goes on, and it's like the first couple of times you do it, you're bound to screw up. And hold on, let me just hopefully this works. I'm gonna go in the tab again.
Hey, kid, would you like some drugs? The first one is free.
Want to check out my van? I got some candy.
Hey, kid, want to join our gang and spray paint under a bridge?
No, no, bug off, man. I'm going roller skating. I want to be addicted to roller skating, not crack. Because we roller skate today, we will go to college tomorrow. Prison is full of people that have never roller skated.
I'm Brad Armstrong, owner of Roller Kingdom in Reno, Nevada, keeping your kids off the streets since 1999.
I say no to drugs. I say no to gangs.
I say no to unplanned pregnancy.
I say no to meth. I say no to reefer. I say yes to roller skating.
Man, this Roller Kingdom is really putting us out of business.
You said it, man. This deal sucks.
But you know what? Maybe we should give up this life of crime and start roller skating!
Okay, I think that worked out better that time around. I mean, again, I don't know as to what you guys see versus what I see, but all I know is that when I was looking at it on my end, it looked very laggy, and I was not happy about that. I don't know, I mean, especially the fact that wasn't sure as to if it was gonna be that laggy or not in terms of how everything is. Hold on, I just have to exit out that tab because I mean, even though it's not being shared on the screen, it's just I was still hearing noise from my end in my background. I'm just checking out the tabs. Let's check on. I was just checking on other things, and another thing I saw too is I'm not even sure as to if my like if my Instagram page, like not my personal one, but the Talking Stock one, was even uploading live. And I'm gonna go check on that right now and see if it's even live or not. Looks like it was recording live, but now it's not. And now I'm gonna have to learn. Now I'm gonna have to troubleshoot that one. You see, this is the one thing that I hate. It's like having to constantly troubleshoot stuff, and there could be times where it might be a few episodes in and I might still need to do it. It's all learning from like trial and error. It's like you put everything together, you test everything out before you even start this, and you still find that you run into areas that you need to have things fixed or not. And I think this would have been a much better session had things not lagged, but I just figured I wanted to just share a few things with you guys because I mean, I'm one of those type of people where when I say I'm gonna be filming on this date and these times, I'll stick to it unless something comes up where I can't do it. Like in the case of like the one I was gonna do on Monday night. So it's like no matter what I'm feeling, like if I plan to do that, if there's nothing that gets in the way of canceling it, I'm still gonna film and film live so that you guys could so that we could all see it. Because when you post something like that and you say like hey, like hey, I'm gonna be filming these days and these times. I mean, like what I say. Like in other words, there's no such thing in my books as someone who only someone who like only goes someone who says they're gonna do something and doesn't do it. I mean, it happened to me once when I was testing out. Like there was a time where before I even started this podcast, I was gonna film myself live on either Facebook or Instagram or one of them or both or whatever, and I just didn't do it. But that was just that was just what I did at that time, and it's just it's all right, folks. I think I'm gonna wrap it up right here, and because I figured I touched upon everything I wanted to do. I just wanted to do like a quick session today and, get myself in here. And, it's like, from this episode, you probably get an idea of what the show's going to be like. Opens up with that intro that I created. Then it's going to be the first session of the show, which is really the first half of the show, which, tentatively from 11 to 12:15, and then the second part of the show. But as I said earlier, I might be wrapping up before the 3 hour mark, and in today's case, I'm wrapping up before the 2 hour mark. So, and that's what I'm gonna do right now. So, I'll catch you guys later, and the next talking stock filming session. It will be this Friday coming up, December 27th, right after the holidays. And we'll join you next time where we'll talk the good talk. Peace out.